everybody. So I don't know about you, but I have been on and off with starting morning meditations and morning routines for years. There have been times where I've been successful getting up at 5 in the morning for weeks and months on end, and other times where I could barely do 1 or 2 days in a row and then I gave up. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you all about today. We're going to talk about the 7 steps to setting up a successful morning routine. And I'm going to share with you some of the tips that I've just developed over this last week. So I've recommitted to doing my morning mindset practice and morning routine. And I've done it successfully for the last 5 days this past week. And now today is day 1 of the second week. And so what I thought would be interesting was actually to give you some of this perspective, not from when I've been doing it regularly every single week and month in and month out, but the tips that I found to help me get started again and get back onto that habit setting creation. So I know that for many of you over the years, many of the clients and the people that I've worked with in teaching meditation courses and all of that have really struggled with getting that initial thing started. So that's what I have for you all today. So if you're interested, stick around and I'll share my 7 tips with you all today about how to do that. So for those of you that are new here and new to the Exhale and Thrive community, I'm Sarah Francescuti. I am a leadership mindset expert, business, but mainly leadership pieces. And I have found that the best way to have global impact is really to start with your inner work first. And the best way to do that is to start with how you're setting your intentions and you're setting your energy for your day. So you may have heard about the Miracle Morning Routine by Hal Elrod, and I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Also, Robin Sharma has a 5 a.m. club, and I'm sure there's many other books and resources and approaches that you can try, but those are 2 that I've given a try so far. But what I want to bring to you guys today is some of my specific tips on how to get started with your morning routine. So I've got my tea here, and if you want to pick up tea, a journal, or just put your feet up and relax for a little bit. So let's get started. Isn't this a great mug? It's one of my favorites. I've got 3 that are like this, so nice and cozy in the wintertime, and cozy sweaters and everything. That's the season right now. So it's interesting. I actually did a little bit of reading before doing this video with all of you today, and I came across an article on Business Insider, which I'll link below the video, and it was talking about a bunch of different tips about why getting up early is beneficial. And so sure, it's great for productivity and all of that, but I wanted to get a little bit more specifics, a little more scientific behind it. And one of the points that they said is actually people that get up earlier end up improving their quality of sleep at nighttime because they end up sleeping better in the evenings. They're more rested overall, which of course then creates better mood, better like emotions and everything around anxiety, depression, and all of that. And of course, improved sleep. The other piece that really, the second part that really jumped out at me was that they actually said that your body can take 2 to 4 hours to wake up, which blew my mind because 4 hours is halfway through the workday. So if it takes 2 to 4 hours for the body to fully wake up, the idea is that if you get up earlier, then you're going to be that much more fully awake when it's time to start your actual, the actual big part of your day, whether that's working or being at home with family or whatever that's going to look like for you. So 2 to 4 hours takes for you to achieve full wakefulness, and you actually transition through different wave states of your brain. So starting at delta and theta, and then moving into alpha state where you're more alert and active. And so that's oftentimes where people end up having to kind of jumpstart their bodies and their brains by drinking coffee in the morning. And so the idea, I guess, is that if you're getting up earlier, you're not going to need that because you're going to be more awake. So let's jump into my tips. I've actually got notes here, so I'm going to refer to them just to kind of keep track of things. So the first tip I want to give you today is really just to decide that it's time now to start your morning routine, and you're just going to do it, and you're going to go through whatever it is that's going to come up for you. And so I have a story to share with you. I actually had a really good friend and mentor a few years ago, and he had a deal with him and his friends, with me as well, that he said, you can mention something 3 times. If you're not going to do it, if you mention it once, that's great. That's exciting. If you mention it twice, good for you. Mention it 3 times, you still haven't done it, then basically stop talking about it because you're not going to do it, or take action. And I really love that perspective, because it can be easy sometimes to say, oh, I want to start a meditation practice, or oh, I want to start getting up earlier, but never prioritizing it. And then you're always kind of feeling like you're not living your best life, or you're kind of putting things off, right? Even though you have a part of you that's really yearning for this for whatever reason. And I truly believe it's because our bodies know that there's something there for us physically, emotionally, spiritually, even all of those aspects, to know that you can really get to your fullest, best thriving self and get out of that survive mode. But it takes a little bit of discomfort sometimes to create new habits, as you know, with whatever habit you've created in your life before. So the first step is really just to decide and then go for it. The second one is around intention setting. And this one has been, I think probably the biggest secret for me personally in my morning routine and getting up early, is planning to the night before. Not just by setting your alarm and thinking, okay, tomorrow when my alarm goes off, I'll get up, but actually giving a command to your brain, like a software program, saying, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So then I found the nights that I do that, I don't have to have a conversation with myself when my alarm gets off in the morning. I've already had that conversation. My brain is already prepared, primed, and ready to get up and get up at 5 in the morning when the alarm goes off. I've done the same thing with running. When I used to run in the mornings, is, I would put that intention out that I'm going to be getting up and putting my runners on and getting dressed right away and out the door. And those days really go much better compared to the days when I don't. At the night, put that little intention setting of planting that seed. 5 a.m. I'm going to get up in the morning. If you ever heard about Mel Robbins and her 5-second rule, she uses this example of getting up in the morning as a way to help you build other habits in your life of taking action instead of procrastinating. And I believe fully that this type of activity and habit setting can really empower you to take other changes in your life as well. All right, so number 3, I found, is really around doing something fun, or doing something in your morning routine that's going to be enjoyable, that you're going to want to get out of bed for, you're going to be excited about. For me right now, it's been Pilates in the morning. I do I think 10 to 15 minute Pilates routine in the morning, and that gets my body moving. I've been very stiff lately, especially carrying my little girl around a lot. It's been extra, kind of strain on my back and things. And so I found doing a morning stretching has really been helping me kind of work out that tightness. And so I've been looking forward to that. It's almost like my body's thirsty for stretching. And so I'm giving it a drink every morning. So that's been really great. And also I found using gratitude practices always makes me feel much more uplifted and energized and happy every morning. So by the time it's actually time to get dressed and have breakfast with my family and kind of get started for the day before we head off to work, or whatever we're doing in our day, if it's on the weekend, I'm going to be that much happier. I'm going to be that much more energized, that much more awake, that much more limber and positive if we're throwing gratitude and visioning in there, which I always do. Okay, so something fun. And then the 4th one is being deliberate about it. So if you're specifically looking to develop something in your life, like a goal for me, one of them was to get more limber and deal with this tightness in my body. The other one is really to be communicating more with all of you in the Exhale and Thrive community, and really getting more creative and giving myself that energy so I'm in overflow creative mode instead of in survive mode, right? Where you're kind of running on empty, which I know a lot of leaders tend to do, unfortunately, due to back-to-back meetings and a lot of decisions and, full days and all of that. And so if you're struggling with that, or if anybody within your organization is struggling with that, then a morning routine practice can really make a massive difference and transform how you or your leaders are showing up every day, which then of course obviously has a ripple effect in their team and everything they do. So yes, so be deliberate about what your goal is and why you're wanting to create this morning practice. Is it so that you have more positive mental attitude? Is it so that you have more inspiration and creativity? Are you looking to give yourself space finally to start a meditation practice? I've been teaching meditation probably, I guess, since 2012. I haven't taught it in the last few years, but I taught it for about 7 years and in a row previously, both in the professional environment as well as within the community and in my one-to-one clients as well. And what I found was so many people said they wanted to meditate, but they didn't have the time. And getting up a little bit earlier can really give you that space that kind of creates that bucket where there's room for you to take that time for yourself that you may be lacking. And then obviously the ripple effect of that in your life is going to be huge, which I've seen over and over in my own life in the various different phases that I'm in, whether I'm doing morning routines or not, as well as with my coaching clients too. So it's been always neat to watch that transformation happen. So that's why I thought it would be neat to talk to you all today now, after 5 days or 6 days of my morning routine consistently. I actually found on day 4, I had already planned and set the intention of talking about this. And I knew that I couldn't really talk about it very well if I didn't even get through one whole week. I mean, there'd still be lessons learned there, but having that accountability in my own mind to all of you within this community really actually helped me feel even more motivated to kind of push through that sort of discomfort, because it's November right now, at the end of November right now. And so the days are dark and long in the dark period, right? And so it's hibernation mode. And so kind of the last thing one wants to do is get up early, but this is when I find I need it most. All right, so number 5 is really giving yourself time to set a habit. So by recognizing that a morning routine process actually is something new on your sort of overall energy drain, and it's going to be energizing you in the short run, it's going to take more effort and willpower to get you there. So understanding that and giving it space and time to create, you know, that new transformation in your life and your routine and your schedule and all of that. And then eventually it's going to become a habit and you won't need to be putting so much energy and effort into it. So looking at it as a commitment for a shorter period of time, it's not forever going to be this effortful. But as you're creating any kind of habit, it takes time to instill that into your routine. So giving yourself space and patience to create that, I'd say maybe a month or 2, and then things probably get easier. I'm sure it'll get easier even in just a matter of a few weeks. All right. So 2 more. The number 6 is remembering your goals and your why. And I really kind of talked about that already, about being deliberate in what you're doing and how you're setting up your time. But remembering what you're aiming for. What is this morning routine going to serve you with? How are you going to be benefiting from it, and using that motivation to help you as well? And then finally, it would be following a system. And so I've tried a few different systems over the years. One has been the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and I'll link some videos to he's got a great video on YouTube all about his whole story. And then he talks about how he created this Miracle Morning process and what it got him through and all of that, which has just been very inspirational. And he uses a system called SAVERS, where I didn't write it down, so I'm not sure if I can remember it exactly, but it's talking about using silence, affirmation, SAV, visualization, E would be exercise, R would be reading, I think it was, and then S would be silence. I can't remember what the second S was. Anyway, you can check it out and link the link in the comments to find out more. And I found I really appreciated having a system to follow so that my brain didn't need to worry about figuring out what to do at 5 in the morning. I could just get up and know that these are the things I'm going to do. And so in his concept is you would do 10 minutes on each of those 6 items that would get you through your morning hour. If that feels like too much, you can also do what he recommended, which would be the kind of the lazy version or the easy version, which would be 6 minutes. And back when I was having a newborn, so back when my daughter was 4 months old, I hadn't been doing any self-care pieces for the first few months because I was focused on her and just our overall kind of, you know, taking care of myself, but not these extra pieces. And so I realized that my emotions, my mind, my soul was yearning for some of my own me time again, but I knew I couldn't dedicate a full hour at that point. It felt too much. So what I did is I committed to doing the 6 minutes by noon that day. So it wasn't even 6 minutes when I first got up in the morning, but 6 minutes by lunchtime. So I would do a minute of breathing when my daughter was quiet, or maybe a minute of meditation or visualization when she was napping. And I found that that gave me that sip of fresh air. Remember I mentioned that sort of like that craving, that yearning that I was having. Maybe you feeling this too. which might have led you to watching this video, that yearning for something. And I found that that gave me a sip of it. And then as she got a little bit older and I was sleeping a little bit more, I started doing my miracle morning every morning. And I felt amazing. I was exercising well. I was taking care of myself. I probably felt the best I've felt in my entire life. And then I went back to work and I got a new job and I was studying for French because I needed to be bilingual for this new position. Then I got a new chair role within my director responsibilities and took that on. And so there's been a lot over the last few months that have kind of landed on my plate, all good things, but they've taken that energy and that focus. And so I actually dropped my morning routine for a while because my energy and focus was elsewhere. And you know, it's funny, we often let go of the things we need when we need them most, but that's okay, that's life. And so now things have settled down. My daughter's actually sleeping through the night now. She's starting to do that some nights, most nights it's starting. So there is capacity now. I have capacity to create a morning routine again. And so I'm excited to be sharing it with you and to report back in a month or two and let you know how it's been going. So another system that you could check out is with Robin Sharma, and he wrote the book called The 5 a.m. Club. And I actually honestly haven't finished listening to it yet. I'm listening to an Audible. It's really a fun book. He writes it in kind of like a novel style with characters and everything, and they go to this beach and they learn this process, and it's been really great. So I'm finding that really inspiring as well. And then I've also followed different processes and morning routines from different coaches I've worked with over the years, and they're all great. And so I'd highly recommend just picking something. My current routine, if you're wanting to follow something that I'm doing, is a 10-minute to 15-minute Pilates, just a gentle morning Pilates routine in the morning first thing. Then I do 5 minutes of breathing, 10 to 15 minutes of a guided meditation, or listen to an inspiring audiobook. And then I take time to do the journaling piece. And so we'll do some gratitude journaling, writing out a page of what I'm grateful for that day, or some area in my life that maybe I'm struggling with, and I write gratitude actions or feelings around that piece that's maybe challenging, which can be transformative in and of itself. Maybe I'll do another video one day all about that. And then I often then will get into visualizing what it is that I'm looking to create or build in my life, or what my next up level is going to be. And then by the end of it, then I kind of bring it back to what the day is going to be like. So I'll write out maybe the top 3 actions that I'm going to be working on, or top 3 things that I need that day for self-care, whatever that's going to be. Maybe I need to go for a walk. Maybe I need to have a nap. Maybe I need to connect with a friend or a loved one, whatever that's going to be. And so those are some processes that I've used that I've found have been kind of a routine I've been going back to again and again. And it does kind of touch on those areas that Hal Elrod talked about as well in his Savers approach. And I found that has really worked. But what I found is especially helpful is to kind of do this big picture, you know, the self-care pieces, the big picture visioning, the meditation and all of that, and then bringing it into what today is going to look like. And then I'm really clear on where I'm going from there. So I'd love to hear your tips, or if there's other systems that you've been following with your own morning routines, or if you have some great morning audio books or YouTube videos that you'd love to recommend. I'd love to hear them in the comments, because there's so much more out there than I've heard myself, and I'm sure everyone else watching would love to hear about more resources as well. So thanks for tuning in. I hope that you found this helpful and inspirational. And if you're like me, where you've been wanting to get your morning routine practice up and running again, or if you've never done that and you want to give it a try, then hopefully these 7 tips will really give you a bit of a groundbreaking inspiration to really kind of get over that hump of getting out of bed when you might rather just roll over and sleep for another hour, because the difference has been amazing for me, and I know it will be for you as well. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I can't wait to chat with you more next week for our next weekly video. So have a wonderful day. All the best with your morning routines, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.